welcome to something a little bit special. So I don't know if anybody remembers, but last year I made a video about Resident Evil 5 which focused on some of the critical issues with the AI partner system. This was the first time I cracked down hard on a game and applied material from my courses to it. The title of the course I used knowledge from was Intro to Formal Methods for Software Engineering, which was abbreviated to FML for some reason. We found that pretty funny. And the specific topic I used was Extended Finite State Machines, or EFSMs. If you've ever heard of finite automata, or done them in a computer science course, it's basically the same thing, though instead of weird languages being passed to it, events and actions are what drive it. State machines are basically abstract, easily readable automata. I mean, if you lay down a scale of abstraction where you've got activity diagrams way on the domain side and finite automata down at the pure mathematical end, state machines land pretty much right in the middle. Let's call them applied automata. I like that. So what does any of this have to do with Resident Evil? Well, the partner system in that game is notoriously bad, and my goal with that video was to do my best to discover and explain why. The major breakthrough we made there was that the entirety of the AI partner's behavior could be captured by a state machine. This little diagram, this tells you pretty much everything you need to know about playing Resident Evil 5. The language accepted by the Resident Evil 5 partner automaton was one of simple player commands which invoked switches between two primary states, cover and attack. A monitoring of the player's health which, given some conditions, would force the bot into a partner recovery type of state, unavoidable, and two super simple combat strategies. Now, as some of you may know, as I've talked about it a couple of times, the professor who taught that course invited me to give a presentation to some of his classes on the subject. In both the video and those presentations, I also delved a little bit deeper into those combat strategies using pseudocode. But what's important to note is that every algorithm is actually an automaton. And so if we wanted to, we could express these same rules with another state machine or similar diagram. I just didn't feel like it based on their simplicity. The problem with this system was, as you can probably guess, no properties of any of the elements of the game were considered, ever. Every item has different properties that need to influence the bot's behavior when they use it. For instance, the famous example, a health item, on top of attributes defining its effectiveness, needs to have things like number of uses. I mean, sure, you have an herb equipped, but how many do you actually have? Can you afford to spare one right now? Can you afford to quit whatever combat role you're doing right now in order to run off and heal the player? These are questions that need to be asked when making this sort of decision, but aren't in the game. This is a function, this is a condition. If the player's health is low and there's at least one equipable healing item, go heal the player. That's crap. Or combat. Core combat consisted of identifying the closest enemy and attacking it. Properties of weapons and enemies were not considered, which caused the partner to act extremely wastefully. No matter what weapon was equipped, no matter what enemy was down the path of the barrel, and no matter what the properties of the player or positions of any of the enemies in the game were, the partner would always behave the same way. You got a group of small spider guys and you've got the shotgun. Well, clearly the idea here is to stand back and blast them all away. Or you know, yeah, you could pick out a single one. Sure, that's a great idea. You got a special boss enemy that needs to be killed a very specific way. Well, we've got to conserve ammo and try to figure it out. Oh, or you know, you could shoot full auto with a machine gun and put a bigger dent in our ammo supply than the enemy. Good job! The only difference brought out by the cover and attack states is that the direction of the weapon switching was reversed. And here I was thinking it would make the partner act more aggressive or defensive. Nope. All it means is that it'll waste ammo of the most powerful weapon on whoever's in its range. That's why myself and many other players resorted to equipping the partner with armor, the cattle prod, the only weapon in the game that doesn't consume ammo, and using it as a sort of mule, an extension to your own inventory. Too many things to carry? Drop some on Sheva, she'll hold onto it, unless of course it's health. The partner was not a well-made bot, but rather a set of simple algorithms that made playing the game very difficult alone. The fact that players could resort to such insane measures, and the fact that such measures were put in place, I'm convinced, specifically because of the awful partner system, is terrible. It's these special properties of weapons, enemies, player characters, items. It's all of these things that need to be considered when making a co-op game with an offline bot-controlled partner. It's these properties that I focused on, that I thought heavily about when my professor challenged me to come up with a solution to this, to design my own partner systems architecture. How would a software need to be laid out to address all of these problems in a game? Could we build some sort of architectural pattern? A proven and intelligent solution that could be applied anywhere a cooperative AI system is needed? A sort of guideline that every developer in need of such a feature would just need to implement within the context of their own game, and voila! Yes, I think that's within the realm of possibility. The more I focused on defining properties of key classes and interfaces that I thought would need to be present in such a system, and how they would be used in different threat identifying and combat algorithms, the more I saw how this pattern could be applied to basically any game. But then a combination of school kicking back in, and me realizing that the scope of this problem was way beyond the range of my capabilities alone, caused me to stop caring about this extracurricular activity. And eventually when I came back to it, I realized that I wasn't describing a partner system. What I was trying to come up with was more of an autonomous player system. I was thinking of things that needed to be laid out to ensure that a program could play a game. I was investigating steps that could be taken to ensure that a bot can play effectively without player input, which is super interesting, but at the end of the day, this is a game for the player. The partner can't be a nuisance or an obstruction, but they also can't play the game for the player. And more importantly, when a core feature of your game is that it's cooperative, you need to find a way to tie gameplay to the relationship between the player and the bot. So like I said, I gave up. I figured maybe someday someone would figure this out. Come up with a one-size-fits-all design that could be applied to any game. Months went by until one day, out of nostalgia, I bought an old game on the Nintendo Virtual Console, Medabots AX for the Game Boy Advance. A game that came out in 2003. A game that ran on a little cartridge about the size of a thumb drive, weighing in at about 70 megs total. This game featured one of the most intuitive, interesting, and perfect partner systems I've ever seen in a game. And today, that's exactly what we're going to look at. I caught it! Look at that, I could do this all day. I'm not even looking, I'm looking at the camera. I'm like a juggalo, I mean a jiggler. A juggler. Killing me. Oh. So, what's Medabots about? Well, it's a fighting game, but it's not your typical combo fest or anything. As far as the fighting genre goes, it's more closely related to something like Super Smash Bros. It's all about positioning, special attacks, and most importantly, movement around the stage. Every match is a 2-on-2 battle. Each team consists of a leader and a partner. The goal of the match is to eliminate the leader of the opposing team, which is done by destroying the robot's headpiece. You see, each robot is a collection of 4 parts: a head, left and right arms, and a leg unit. Each piece has different functions, stats, and may work better with other parts. During battle, if too much damage is sustained to a certain part, it falls off, revealing a weaker naked core. What this does is it establishes this hierarchy of importance. At the top is the leader's headpiece. Now, like I said, the combat is kind of like a super boiled down Super Smash Bros. But unique is the amount of strategy that goes into each fight. The most important piece is obvious. It's given to you by the game. But the order of the remaining parts is up to the player. And whether or not they realize it, every playstyle assigns different levels of importance to those pieces. So, for instance, the partner status by the end of the match doesn't matter. The partner can fight self-destructively, hitting hard but getting killed quickly, or the partner can serve the role of a healer, buffing and repairing from a distance while the player carries the fight. And of course, the leader and partner can be swapped, meaning all sorts of things are possible. Similarly, other part hierarchies exist on the other side of the field. Each set of enemies fights according to different rules, places more value in specific strategies than others, and the dynamic between the two bots reflects this. Some will both head after you full force, others will dispatch one of their members against each of yours individually. Sometimes the AI will even employ really advanced tactics. For instance, having the partner serve a purely defensive role, literally taking bullets, while the leader avoids heavy action in order to charge up and use special attacks. So we've seen just how complicated this seemingly simple game is at its core. A co-op fighting game about customizable robots with heavy emphasis on teamwork, strategy, and planning. Now, if you're skeptical about how successful a game could be at these things, especially just after having taken a look back at a game with an obviously greater budget and comparatively simpler, dumbed-down partner system, yeah, that's normal. That's because what Medabots did 13 years ago is something that, to the best of my knowledge and research, no one had ever done before, and to this date, I don't think anyone has ever topped. In Medabots, you are actually always in full control over your partner, whether you realize it or not, and that leads to one of the most natural feeling interactions with a bot ever. There are 2 ways that the player controls their bot. The first way is by equipping them. Here's a joke: what's the difference between shovel with a handgun, shovel with a machine gun, shovel with a shotgun, and shovel with a rocket launcher? Give up nothing! Each one behaves the exact same way. Oh, wait a sec. Jokes are the things that are supposed to be funny, not sad and depressing, huh? The behavior of the AI in Resident Evil is decoupled entirely from the characteristics of their weapon, which, needless to say, is bad. A bot's combat style should depend on their weapon. It shouldn't be universal. In Medabots, the way the AI acts is related to their gear, your gear, and the enemy's gear. If the partner is given only a bunch of healing items, it knows that it's been designed to be a healer, and so it stays out of the way, protecting itself so that it can continue to protect you for as long as possible. More interestingly, bots will adjust their priorities and actions based on their weapons. A bot with debuffing attacks will, like a healer, try to stay out of the way, but rather than doing this stationarily, it'll keep moving, dodging, and avoiding fire. Bots with projectile attacks will actually focus their effort fighting bots with non-projectile attacks from a distance, taking advantage of the specific properties of their weapon. Sound familiar? Oh yeah! So the way you dress the partner defines their behavior. That's cool. But what's the worst thing about co-op AI? Ah yes, when it does something the player doesn't want it to do. Yeah, sure, maybe the bot's behavior is optimized according to the developers, based on its equipment, which already is miles ahead of Resident Evil 5. But hey, who are they to tell the player what to do? I mean, this is the player's experience after all. Maybe we know something they don't. Maybe we want to try a strategy that they're not aware of. Most games with partner or buddy systems do away with all of this, leaving partner control strictly to the player. That's right, this sniper friend I've got perched up there won't do anything unless I expressly tell her to.
Fire!
So So let me ask you, who's actually shooting, me or her? Now that's bad because now the player adopts the unnecessary role of babysitter. But, on the other hand, giving the system full control, automating the partner, is also bad. The game shouldn't be able to play itself. So what we need is a system that allows the player to control their partner's behavior to a certain degree, but not be responsible for every pull of the trigger themselves. This is a fast-paced action game. There's no time to stop and issue complex commands. Enter medals. Medals are Metabots' solution to partner control. So, how does it work? Well, each medal represents a different type of behavior. If this were a state machine, each one would be its own state. The default one, labeled "It's up to you," causes the partner to fight more or less autonomously, and refer to their equipped weapons and gear for a fighting style, as described before. One of the first ones you unlock, though, is Stay Close, which causes the partner to stay by you rather than engage enemies on its own. Immediately, you realize that there are all sorts of situations where switching between these medals, these styles, live in combat, can be useful. If the fight isn't going your way, call the partner back in. Stick together. You might have a better chance fighting side by side. Or hey, if you've taken a few too many hits, stay back and let the partner fight on their own. Being able to swap between these two strategies on the fly makes you incredibly more powerful. But the medals don't stop there. Oh no. The types of medals you get range from general purpose to extremely specific. For example, there are special tiles for specific fighting styles like healer, shooter, or grappler, which are kind of like specialized versions of the default behavior tile. These give the partner the sort of traits that normally would be determined by their equipment alone, but what it allows you to do is mix things up. You can force your shooter partner to act like a healer, protecting you, or whatever else you want. So with these medals, the bot will try to optimize its performance based on the role it's given, but other medals allow you to put more emphasis on specific actions. For example, healing is only one duty of a healer type bot, and it'll try its best to carry out this activity whenever it's most necessary. But if the player feels as though they need to be healed right away, they can switch quickly to a healing medal, which forces the partner to put much more emphasis on healing. The partner won't wait around to heal you. It'll do it now, and as soon as it's done, you can swap it back to basic healing behavior. Literally every possible aspect of combat has a medal which forces the partner to focus on it. Want them to fight primarily with one arm? Sure. Want them to defend you at all costs? Why not? Want them to only target enemies with grappling attacks? Go for it. Need them to evade all enemies? Okay, you've got it. Everything you can possibly imagine is an option and can be switched between during combat. What's cool though is that for every match, only 5 medals can be equipped, which obviously makes control a lot easier, but also means that you're formulating a plan as you equip them. You can only swap medals in one direction, so you have to come up with the most logical order. I typically start with a basic type tile, followed by a Stay Close, which I can use as soon as I or my partner are in serious trouble, and then follow with some sort of healing tile, a tile that forces them to use their super special charge attack as soon as possible, and some sort of defensive tile like evasion or blocking. But that's how I like it, and you might play it a different way. And that's the beauty of it, everyone has their own style. So yes, the partner controls themselves, but the player is the one who tells them how. At any point in the game, you know exactly what state the partner is in, because you said it. And so you can use this knowledge to apply proper tactics and best take advantage of every situation before you. In Resident Evil 5, the player had barely any control over the AI. You couldn't tell Sheva how to conduct herself, she played by her own rules. Rules that were very poorly designed. And as a result, it was the player who had to modify their behavior, make sacrifices, and change their playstyle to match the partner's requirements. This is Resident Evil. I bought the game with my own money, and I want to use the shotgun because it's cool. When you pull the trigger, it goes boom and it hits everybody. It's so awesome. But Sheva keeps wasting the potential of her machine gun and keeps running out of ammo for it. I can't take it anymore. I can't carry both though, so I need to trade my shotgun for her machine gun. Now I'm forced to use the gun that I don't like because my crappy partner can't handle it herself. And I mean, she doesn't even use the shotgun properly. She should be trying to run around enemies, herd them into a group behind her, then blast them all the way with a single shot. That's what I do, but she doesn't. She only ever focuses on one enemy at a time. Even if it's like 100 spiders around her, she's like looking at one spider. She's like, I'm gonna kill that spider, that one. My God, that was crap. Here though, the bot is fully customizable and controllable. You have so many possible options that you're bound to find one that suits you. And even if you don't, at least you can command the bot to stay out of your way. Now, something you might have caught before is that the player doesn't start off the game with all of these medals in their possession, but rather has to unlock them. So not only was this co-op system years ahead of its time, but they managed to tie it into gameplay and player progression. As you beat other robots and win tournaments, not only does your level increase, not only do you get new weapons and parts, but you actually get better at team play. At the beginning of the game, you and your partner can't do much together, but as it goes on, your cooperative skills and abilities increase. You feel your progress in terms of raw power boost, but also in regards to teamwork. Like I said before, being better at interacting with your partner is a type of power-up. Not only that, but some medals have levels associated to them, like healer level 1, 2, 3, shooter 1, 2, 3. Each leveled medal represents a more efficient style of play for that type of bot. So at the start, your healer partner might only be a fine healer, but by the end, they're a great healer, and that's cool. So not only are you getting better at working together, but your partner is getting better at doing their job that you assigned them. Fights early on in the game are completely different than those at the later stages. So much more is going on, but the game slowly eases you into it and allows you to remain in control the entire time. Medabots AX for the Game Boy Advance, a game that solved an issue many modern games still suffer from today before anyone even realized it was an issue. Not only did the game offer a really cool intuitive partner command system, but it managed to treat it just like any other gameplay mechanic. Something that slowly gets better as the game goes on. Fantastic game, impressive features, especially given its age. I'm glad I was able to take a look back at it. Thanks for watching. Go give me poop! Hello and welcome to the end screen! Ow! I'm getting better at it. My voice doesn't crack as much anymore. Remember when it used to crack every single time? Now it doesn't crack. You know, it's like Mary J. Blige used to say, don't be fooled by the cracks that I don't crack no more, eh? Don't be fooled by the cracks that I crack. I'm still from the crack. Used to have a little, but now I have a crack. You used to know, but then my crack is cracky place. Today's end screen is brought to you by El Yucateca. You get more habanero, red habanero sauce. It's basically empty because I've just been consuming this for so long. Oh, it's so great. Oh! Mmm! Oh! Okay, first things first, I'm not, okay, so at the time of recording this right here, I haven't filmed the intro or outro yet, and I know that I'm probably going to have some friends help me with it, but I don't know who's going to be involved, so I'm just going to shout out all of my friends who were in it, and be like, cool, my mouth is, I'm like getting saliva in my mouth. So, number one goes out to my good friend, Jacob, friend, co-worker, peer, all-around cool guy. Oh! You can check him out on YouTube. It's Moshi Jake. I tweet. It's like we tweet each other sometimes. You've probably seen it. His Twitter is @_Moshi Jake. It's somewhere up here. He's a real cool guy. I freaking love him. I've proposed to him many times. He's not. He's never accepted my marriage proposals. He's a real cool guy. I feel like if I had to choose a man to settle down with in my life, it would be Jake. He'd be the optimal solution. Anyways, also shout out to Tyler, my good friend Tyler from the youtube.com/Starvader. Me and Tyler have been making videos for a long time, and Tyler's been a good friend of mine since high school. He helped film this stuff. And that's about it. I think that's all who I think are going to be in the video to help us out, but that's pretty much it. So, number two, from this point on, what I'm going to do, I think, hopefully, is that I'm going to upload the intros and possibly outros to videos separately with like a custom little end screen that takes you to the full video. Because especially, like I was thinking about this for God of War. Like the God of War intro, okay, shut up, I don't care what anybody thinks. I'm happy with how that one, like I keep rewatching it and laughing. And I should tell you the whole story. For that intro, basically the whole idea, what I wanted to do was I wanted to have the SpongeBob balloon and I wanted to be like beating it up. So I wanted to, I was going to go to the park and take it on like the swings and take it, like I had this idea, like specifically one shot of like going down the slide with the SpongeBob balloon and I'm like and I'm like punching in and stuff and there's like buttons everywhere, so I'm making it look like a quick time event. And in the meantime I had like more Greek dialogue when I actually recorded. I didn't end up using it, but it was gonna go on top and it was gonna be like, I've tried fighting my demons and I couldn't defeat them, and I tried challenging SpongeBob and he, you know, so at the end I was gonna pop it and that was it, you know, but then I'm, you know, I'm not released from the torment or whatever. But we go through this whole thing. I took all my siblings, we had gone to this like party expert to get the SpongeBob balloon, and they were like making all these balloons. We had to wait like 20 minutes before they make the SpongeBob, and the lady's like, she's curling the what do you call it, string, I don't know what, and I'm like looking at her, I'm like, Madame, give me the SpongeBob balloon, do not do this, please. And she's like, no, I'm going to do it, don't worry. And I'm like, oh, so finally we get the balloon 20 minutes later. It's the most beautiful balloon. It's all curled. Everything's so fantastic. We take it to the park. We do the first shot. Have the camera set up. Take the thing. I run up to it. Boof, boof, boof. The freaking strings that she spent all that time tying. Boop, comes off and the balloon flew away, completely unscripted. I didn't even know what to do. I threw my knives at it, and my neighbors were playing hockey in the street, and that's what you hear, some kid like, oh, balloon, and it was a disaster. I was so upset, but it turned out so good. Like, I was so happy with how that looked at the end, and I ended up coming up with a way to fix it and everything. It was really funny. I'm really happy with how it turned out. It was like a million times better than my original plan. So anyways, like I was saying, I think that the intros can kind of stand for themselves. They're pretty funny. They're pretty entertaining, I hope. And the thing is, I think it's an easier shareable format maybe for the videos. I mean, yeah, I made a 54 freaking minute video about God of War. Nobody's gonna share that on Facebook. Nobody's gonna post it around to their friends or send that to anybody because nobody's gonna watch it. It's an hour freaking long. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna release like the intro, and people can watch the intro, and then if you're actually interested in clicking a thing, I'll put at the end. Because I don't know, I think it's pretty good. It's pretty good stuff. I think that video being shared on its own or just being out there on the channel has a better chance of gaining attention for me than the whole 54 minute video. So I think I'm gonna do that, and hopefully this one turns out good, so I'll do that too, and we'll see how things go. So that's it. The hot sauce is making my stomach feel really messed up right now, so I'm gonna go. Thank you for watching. I gotta make a joke about Medabots. I don't even remember, because I know there was a TV show, right? But and I know I was really into it, and none of my friends were into it. Like, everybody else was into Pokemon and all this stuff, and I mean, I was into Pokemon too, but I was really into Medabots. I don't remember much about it, but I remember one time there was an episode about octopus balls. It was like these food things that people were eating, but they kept calling it octopus balls, and I wasn't sure if, you know, the localizers just had a really good time with this show and the producers and stuff, or if there was really just no other way to translate this. So there was this whole episode where everybody was just yelling about octopus balls. So there's a joke. Octopus balls. Metabots. Oh, you know what sucks? The new God of War. I'm so glad I made that video when I did, so I didn't have to do a whole bit at the end, because 54 minutes would have turned into freaking 68 minutes. Freaking new God of War trailer comes out at E3. Guess what? The one thing I talk about, the one thing I praise in my entire 54 minute video, the freaking automatic camera system, how perfect it is, how great it makes the game look and feel and play to people who are not gamers. And then they pull out the trailer, and the first thing I see, freaking player controlled, classic dual stick setup camera system. It's total poo-poo, it's total crap. It made me, like, I saw that, the thing starts, I'm like, God of War? And they start, and then it goes camera right over his shoulder, and I looked at that, and I swear I closed it. And then I watched it later when I got home, but I was so disappointed, like I was so shocked. And now all those things they used to be able to do are gone, and now it just looks like every other game. What is this, The Last of Us, The Last of Norse? Get out of here. You know, life isn't so great. The Resident Evil 7 though, that looked pretty cool. Maybe I'll talk about that sometime soon, or not. I don't know why I'm doing a thing, because I have literally no plan to talk about that. So I'm like trying to like hint, like, I'll talk about it sometime soon, and in the background I'm like, no, I'm not. What the heck are you doing? Anyways, I'm getting out of here. Peace out.